Sometimes happens that I feel what it happens doesn't move me, or that I can let go of it very easily. But in the other side, also I feel I have like a fear to annoy another people or to express to them what I'm really feeling. So my question is how to identify when something that it moves me really I can let go, or I have to express it to somebody else or to express or something.
You know, it's clear that the most difficult thing for you is to express because you're trying to justify not expressing. So you need to do that. You know, if you have an aspect and it's very clear for you that you have resistance there, you have to do the exact opposite. And that's how you change. You know, the ego is an incredible thing. It protects something that's not mature. You know, when you're a child, you do exactly what you're told. Like you're always looking for external approval. You're looking for protection. You're anchored in consciousness. You know, and you have your emotions, and you look at your parents, and there's an aspect where they're like gods, no? You know, you can't really ascertain them as humans. Why? Because you haven't cultivated your humanity. You don't have your own personality. You're trying to find yourself. And then you start to grow and become more individual, but you're also more trained, more domesticated. And then you get to a point in your life where you start to say no. And usually teenagers, they like to say no because they're trying to assert their individuality, their personality, their identity, who they are, all through their personality, their intellect, their image, and their ego. Okay, so we get to that point and we start to show who we are. And then at some point, we have to do the opposite. We have to do the opposite again. And we have to return from the no to the yes. A yes to everything. That vulnerability. Letting go of the yo soy así, yo sabes esta, I know this, I know that, I'm like this, I believe in this, I believe in that, I am this little box. So how do I get rid of the box? I experience unity with everything. Energetically. I don't feel any separation. Like my body, me, extends into everything. I'm always in everything. So I'm very clear that I am that. I am that. And when you become that, the fear goes. Because when you're that, what's there to be afraid of? So how do you get to that point? You have to just keep letting go and pushing the limits of the box. Stop defining yourself through I'm like this, I have emotions, I don't have emotions. You have to be completely open to everything, a yes to totality, and always walking towards separation. not hanging on to a belief system or idea. And for you, this is difficult to express, to be vulnerable, to annoy people, to ask for support. For some people, it's simple. They want attention all the time. It's the exact opposite. So what do you have to do? The opposite. And then you find a middle path. Okay, and this is the goal. The goal is to find your true essence, not your box. Because we're all comfortable in our box. But a consciousness is a room without walls. And in order to have no walls, you have to allow the hurricane to move through. So your answer is yes. Okay, I feel something. I'm going to express. Yeah? That was a long answer, wasn't it? Very long answer. Good.
Since 7 years ago, I separated. My daughters on Father's Day, they don't spend with me Father's Day, which is today. And I suffer it a lot every day, every year. And last year, not that much. And today, I didn't suffer at all. And I feel weird with that. It's as if I feel like I should be sad. I should be sad because they didn't even send me a greeting for Father's Day today. Is that I let go and understand them why they do? I have them in a way in my head that I don't know.
You know, you just like to suffer. You don't suffer, and then you suffer because you didn't suffer. You're like a girl. Really? You sure it was Father's Day? Stop. Stop thinking. You know, to be free of all these ideas is the greatest thing that can happen. Because they're just stupid ideas. Some idiot that sells Hallmark cards invented a day that's the most important day for you as a father. Is that true? Aren't you a father 365 days of the year? Or no? So why are you buying the story? How does that define you as a father? How are you as a father? That's the question. A loving father, a giving father. How are you as a father? How are you as a person? How do you define that? That's what's important. Because these are just stupid things. And they're designed to make you suffer. The children don't love me. Oh, I don't love the children. I didn't suffer on Father's Day. Because you're maturing. You know, at some point, the children stop suffering when Santa Claus doesn't come. You know? It's simple. Stop putting importance in trivialities so you can suffer. Because the important thing is the love. And what you're giving all the time, not that one day. It's just for you to suffer. Do you see it? The duplicity of it all? The lunacy of it all? You didn't suffer, then you suffer because you didn't suffer. Do you see how crazy it is? Good, so stop.
These last weeks, I saw how a needy person I am. And today, when I was expressing, I had a physical sensation. And now the image, as I was a girl, 5 brothers competing for the love of my parents. And I always wanted to be the favorite, so I did such an effort to be good student, good daughter, and all that shit. And that I projected in all my relationship, friends, partners, trying to be the best, to be the favorite person of someone. And it's something. I do an effort being somebody I'm not. So how to let go of that need of being the favorite person of somebody else?
You know, all humans do that. Because we're trained to do that. Because we define ourselves by the attention we're getting externally. In order to love ourselves, we need to feel loved. But we suffer. Why? Because we have to be changing all the time. We have to be calculating all the time. We have to be seducing all the time. We have to have these different masks. And it's exhausting because we don't know which mask we're meant to use. Oh, I'll put this mask. Oh, that didn't have this right response. Oh, I'm going to get another one. And it's always changing, changing, changing. And it's exhausting. Having an image, looking for approval externally, is exhausting. The incapacity to be with yourself, to love yourself, to stand in your truth, that's freedom. That's freedom. And so when you see this, do that. Be here now. Stop doing it. And let go. Oh, it's so much easier. It's so much easier. Because if you're not clear, this is always dual. Because it's not real. It's a mirror. And it changes all the time. And it's exhausting.
To situations that repeatedly often in my life and brought me trouble always. One is the not being punctual in time, and that I lost friends, I lost work, I had fights. And the other one is procrastination. And I don't want to have any more of that in my life, but I want to know where that comes from and how to move it through, change it.
It's clearly self-sabotage. Because they're the same things, no? I postpone, I'm always late, there's another drama. And the adrenaline of not wanting to create the drama. But you have to see, it's just an addiction. It's an addiction to suffer because it causes problems. And because you have so much guilt, it creates more problems because you know you're doing it. Oh, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. Everyone's waiting. Oh, God, I'm late. Yes? So you just need to do the opposite. Let go of the judgment and just organize yourself and see how you want that to happen. You have to see your addictions. You have to see how you arm the suffering. You saw what he did. Yeah, it was so clear. Didn't suffer, but created a reason to suffer. Being on time is simple. Go extra early. You know, don't allow that. Do the opposite and let go of the judgment. Or go and live in India. No one cares. Everyone's late. If they come at all.
Aisha, these last days I've seen that I work always from a place of control and exigence with myself. And it's like, now that you told this to Santi, is my box, I'm comfortable. And I have some standards that if I don't do, I feel bad with myself. I use them for that. And now I'm starting to see, to relate with more patience and love. But I feel uncomfortable doing that. It's weird. And how to embrace that aspect of treating myself with love.
The thing is, you're defining yourself with what you're doing. And you have to let go of that. You have to define yourself with what you're being. And that will change. You have to do a check. Am I tense? Am I being exigent? Am I being violent with myself? Oh, let go. The only thing important, and truly the only thing important, is your consciousness. Because that's who you are. Everything else is on the surface. That peace, that creativity, that love, that profound depth of being has to always be the focus. Because once you have that, the excellence comes. The exigence disappears. And because of that, you have the capacity to flow and to enjoy. You know, so many people are like this, to achieve. And they get to that point and they achieve. You know, the most successful people in the world are usually like that. They're like that. Bang, 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 bang. And then they get there and they have to invent something else and invent something else. Always inventing something else, something else, something else. Because the adrenaline, they love the adrenaline of achieving, of proving. I know because I was that person. I was that person. And all I was trying to get was approval because I didn't feel good enough. And whatever I achieved was never good enough. There was always something wrong. And I achieved a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. But it was always, I could have done better, it could have been more, I'm going to do it. Now what, now what, now what, now what? What am I going to do this year? Finally, the goal was enlightenment. Hallelujah. That was the only one worth having. And it can't be like that either. It has to come from love. Love of self, love of freedom, love of knowing truth, love of wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom. And that comes from within.
Lately, I have been moving through a family situation where I understood how I was relating it from the conditional love, or something conditional with my family, no? And now I have the conflict that I relate from guilt. I'm seeing this. How I relate to them through guilt. Talking with my mom, my sister, my family makes me feel through the need that they will not feel bad if I don't. And I have a sensation that I'm sad, but I cannot move it through. And I don't know how to move through that loop of thing myself, or how to relate with them without guilt. I'm in the middle of that conflict. I cannot understand what to do. Can you help me, please?
Okay. You know, families function like that. We're taught to obey, and if we don't obey, we get in trouble. If we get in trouble, we feel guilty. And they were taught the same, and their parents did the same. And ever since the church was created, we all did the same. Okay? And you just have to see it and let it go. You know, parents do that. It's their way of showing love. They want more. I remember my mother would come to visit, and the first thing she'd say is, "When am I going to see you again?" I said, "But you just arrived." Yeah, it's like that. But it's habitual. They don't even know they're doing it. But you have that feeling of wanting to please them. And so you feel guilt. You think you're making them suffer. But it's not true. It's not real. It's an illusion. So you have to let go and take responsibility for yourself and speak the truth. It's simple. And they'll start to mirror that. You know, before my mother died, all of that stopped. But she kept doing it with my brother, but much more, because it's a habit. But I let go, and she stopped. So you have to let go. So every time you feel that need to look for approval, you have to go in and connect and let that go, because that's what children do. That's why they lie all the time. They tell everyone what they think they want to hear. Isn't that right, Italy? Yeah. And you have, oh, look, there's a few of them. Yeah. Oh, there's Bono too. These are big examples. And we have to let them go. We have to let them go.
I always had a sensation of emptiness, like a lack of satisfaction, having always moments where nothing was good enough. And a couple of days ago, I found it going to that sensation and became like a permanent thing. I started to have headache in my belly and my tummy. And I want to ask you, how can I move through through the sensation and soften on feeling it up?
You just have to be there. This is our separation. And that's what provokes our addictions. That's why we're always consuming. We're always distracted. We're always attracted. Everything's outside because we're trying to avoid that. Because every human has that. That fear, that not feeling good enough, that incapacity to be with themselves. And you just have to be there. Just be there. There's nothing to do. If something comes up,
Si algo emerge,
you just feel it.
lo sientes.
But every human has that.
Todos los seres humanos tienen exactamente esto.
And to be there,
Y al estar ahí,
to allow
y
yourself
permitirte
to be in that space
estar en ese espacio,
is the greatest thing.
es lo más grandioso.
The greatest thing.
Es lo más grandioso.
Because it will dissolve.
Porque eso se va a disolver.
Because it's fear.
Porque eso solo es miedo.
And you know, this is why everything
Y
external
es por esto que todo lo externo,
and our society
nuestra sociedad,
is so focused
está tan enfocada
in television
en
and iPhones and everything externally. We're consuming more and more and more and more because we're trying to avoid
tratando de evitar
that feeling.
ese sentir interno.
And when you unify,
Y cuando unificas,
it's impossible.
es imposible.
Impossible to avoid it.
Imposible evitarlo.
Impossible.
Imposible.
Because it's going straight there.
Porque va derecho ahí.
I'm becoming more and more aware of how our childhood experiences impact our consciousness. Are there things that I can do to support, maintain their innocence, to as they're growing up, to be aware of?
You know, all children go through the process. That's the human experience. What you can teach them are the basic formats of the Isha system. Having the capacity to use the facets, to connect, to move emotion, to express, and to speak the truth, and to give. These are the most important things. But they will come from you. It'll be a natural process for you to teach that. You can't avoid their separation. You can teach them that they're unlimited, and so much they'll absorb. But the most important thing is they can find internal security, that they don't lose that, because that's what makes all the feelers go externally. And that they express what's happening, they communicate and feel their emotions. Like the education system. Yeah.
Because I feel, as I decided to come here 3 weeks before coming, before starting the 6 months, as I felt something internal, that inner force that told me, you have to go for yourself. And since then I started feeling that as a force, more intuitive, more connected to that space of consciousness. And also, on the other hand, sometimes I feel that if I don't accommodate, like with mental control, or saying, I'm going to accommodate the thought and the feeling so I don't feel, how can I differentiate that is coming from my inner force or from accommodated from my intellect?
Just be more innocent and feel whatever comes. Just feel it. And it doesn't matter if it comes from your intellect. If there's an emotion, feel it. Don't quash your emotions by justifying. Just be innocent, vulnerable, a complete victim. This is the emptying process. Towards the end, we'll start accommodating. But in this moment, you're in the process of going deep and moving. In the end, we'll start to align. And how will you align? You will know yourself then. You'll see your programs. You'll see your resistance. You'll see your control. You'll see your drama, your vulnerabilities. You'll see it. And you'll catch it. Oh, I'm doing that again. I'm going to let it go. Yeah? But in this moment, you don't have to think about it. Whatever happens naturally, allow. And don't stuff anything. You know, be willing to look stupid. It doesn't matter. Yeah? Do you understand? From your consciousness or from your intellect? How do I know if I'm aligning? Who cares? Yeah? Don't think so much. Yeah, that's all. Too many ideas. Too many spiritual ideas. Too many of everything.
I didn't know how to explain consciousness and my process of why did I come to my family, to my partners, professionals. So I explain what I live here and I feel is not enough. So I want to know how to explain it to people that never experienced consciousness before.
You know, it's absolutely impossible to explain your experience. And you don't need to. Because if you need to explain, you're looking for approval. And if you need approval, your experience isn't big enough. Just share your heart. It's like treating someone. What do you experience when you unify? Can you? It's your divinity. It's your internal being. It's a feeling. It's an expansion. It's something. It doesn't have an explanation. It's like love. You can't describe it. You can feel it. So you have to radiate that. But you can't intellectually describe something that's not intellectual. It's experiential. And you just have to give that experience. I can't explain my consciousness to you. It's impossible. I could unify with you, but I can't explain what I experience because it's my experience. Yeah? Good. Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.